We're going to turn our coverage right now to David Prescott. He's a pilot who has worked with the pilot who was flying today's B-17. We understand he's very familiar with these vintage planes, including the B-17. Can you hear us, David?
Yes, I can.
Wonderful. Thank you for spending a few moments with us today. Based on what you have heard and seen, what is your reaction? What are you feeling about this particular crash? Any sense of what may have happened?
I don't think enough information's come out about. The reports are out there from the from the tower and everything that sounds like they had some form of an engine failure on takeoff, and they were doing the safest thing they could, which was bringing the plane back around to land. I think is about all that's actually known right now.
David, I have to ask, I understand that you know the pilot, who we are not going to identify, obviously, at this point. Talk with us about the individual and about their experience, if you would.
So, the Collins Foundation operates these aircraft on their living history, tour, which is, these planes are very old, World War II aircraft, but they're maintained, to top-notch, conditions, and have a regular maintenance crew, with them at all times. We have a choice. We can leave these locked up in museums, or they can be out and operated for the public to touch, feel, experience, see, and hear. I participate with the Collins Foundation, also, and, they have a very, very strong regimented training program and safety program. The pilot, as well as myself, attend regular ground schools, on the aircraft annually, as well as regular recurrent, training and checkouts from their chief pilot.
David, that was my next question about how you are trained to fly a plane like this. What goes into this?
I mean, so I actually own a few World War II aircraft myself. I mean, all aircraft share very similar systems and features. In reality, these aircraft, have the exact same systems, same controls as an aircraft that might have been built 5 years ago. The biggest difference is these aircraft in particular are flying radial engine aircraft that radial engines that just simply aren't as efficient as modern engines are. But as far as overall safety and reliability, there's no issues or concerns, which is why the FAA and the NTSB allow these aircraft to fly and to take people on living history flights the way they do.
Do you need a special certification to pilot one of these planes?
You do, but it's more based on not due to the aircraft specifically. It's more due to the weight of the airplane. These aircraft are over 12,500 pounds. So with the FAA, they do require a type certificate. So additional training, and the FAA assigns examiners to individually check out every pilot. The pilot of this aircraft is also an airline pilot, so a very, very highly trained and competent pilot.
That's an interesting point, David. I want to ask you, you've used the word museum a few times, and I think that's really what we're talking about here. I think that puts it in a unique perspective. These are flying museums. Talk a little about the individuals who choose to go for a ride on them, and the folks you've seen over the years share their experiences.
Wow, that just gave me goosebumps. You even asking the questions. I mean, it is, it's amazing meeting some of the people that that take rides or just come out to see the planes. You have everybody from myself who my grandfather was in World War II, so I just wanted to, when I first started going out to see the planes and take rides. For me, it was just about being able to see and experience airplanes I only read about in books. And read the stories of the missions they were on. But a lot of times, you get World War II veterans whose family members, bring them out for a ride. Sometimes it's the first time they've they've gone for a ride on that type of plane or seen that plane, since the war ended. And it's amazing to hear their stories, and oftentimes it's amazing hearing their family members sitting right next to them, where their family members have, were very frank with, that their that this veteran has never ever spoken about anything of the war until they see these planes or they hear them start up, and they just bring back memories, and just in an instant they return back to 1944.
Yeah, they're 20 years old once again. David, thank you so much. Before we say goodbye, though, I wanted to ask a technical question. We've been talking a lot about the investigation. The NTSB, of course, is there, and other federal agencies. Do you have any knowledge if this particular aircraft had a black box? Was it retrofitted where it would have that kind of information?
No, actually, very few aircraft actually have black boxes on board. To have a black box, means, in order for those to work, you have to have a lot of electronic flight control systems in order for the black box to read, the flight inputs and flight data. This aircraft, wouldn't have had a black box on board. Now, as they work with the Collins Foundation, and depending on what survived, the post crash fire, and remediation that the fire crews did, there are some systems or some cameras that may have been on board that they may be able to gather additional data from. But as far as a traditional black box as we know it, that's designed to survive a crash, there would not have been one.
Okay. Thank you for your insight so much, David. We appreciate it. David Prescott, a pilot himself.
Yeah.